Hello, welcome to Dog Food with Katherine Abel, the show about dogs that feeds the mind and spirit. Y'all, my book, The Depth of Dogs, is available online. You can get it anywhere, but you can get the ebook on Amazon, and please do. Today I'm going to read Jack the Liar. Jacob Webster is sitting in the front seat of his pickup truck, thinking. Jack is sitting in the passenger seat, watching him think. On the truck console between them is an item of clothing that will change their lives forever. Jacob doesn't know if he has the guts to put it on Jack, to bring him into a storyline. He has no idea what it means. Maybe he will. That dog of his is smart. He watches people walking in and out of the store and makes up his mind. He turns to the one he loves more than his own life and says, "Buddy, if it doesn't work, it's on me." Jack, Jacob Webster's best friend and almost 24/7 companion, is an alleged Irish setter Rhodesian Ridgeback, but he looks like a wire-haired scruff muffin instead of the two vaunted breeds from whom Jacob's sister's husband's second cousin claims him to be. He's black, red, brown, and white, and looks nothing like either breed. Jacob's sister's husband's second cousin hinted, under the influence of a lot of alcohol, that there might be German wire-haired pointer in him, thus the coat texture. No matter. He is purebred, and that's all Jacob cares about. Is there any dog purer than an Irish setter, Rhodesian Ridgeback, German wire-haired pointer? Not that he knows of. Jack is unique, as is every single hunting dog Jacob has ever known. At 69 and a half years old, he has known a few, since his knowledge of hunting dog breeds began the day he was born. There have always been hunting dogs of the most extraordinary intelligence, loyalty, and savvy in his family and his extended family. Numbers untold. Jack doesn't say a word as Jacob puts the vest on him. He has never worn clothes before, but what does he care? This man takes him on adventure after adventure. If he has to start wearing clothes to participate in them, so be it. Vest adjusted, vest clicked on, vest smoothed, new red leash attached, door opens, off they go. Jack has never been inside a store as big as Ollie's. He hopes there's food because he can always eat. Now, Jack, listen to me. We're not eating in here. If you smell anything eatable, you can't eat it. This is what you call a test run. We're doing 4 of them today in 4 different towns. You'll get the hang of it. You can't take the heat like you used to could, even with all the windows rolled down in the shade. Besides, I want you with me all the time. You're the nicest, smartest dog I've ever known. You can do it. Remember, no eating in the stores. We'll get a hamburger right after. Whether we succeed or not, we will reward ourselves for our unmitigated gall. Of course, Jack makes a fool of both of them in Ollie's. The entry can be considered a success, though, and Jack is well and truly praised for that. All right, we got in. Good boy. Good job. Now here's the plan. Just keep walking. Leave the bed pillows alone. You know what they are. We're walking to the back of the store, then walking back through the store. Then we're leaving. That's it. Short, simple. Don't lick that toy tractor. You don't have any germs, but who knows who touched it. That's right. Middle of the aisle. Good job. You're doing fine. We totally got this, buddy. The defeat occurs on the men's underwear and sock aisle. Jacob gets sidetracked by the beige sock pack of 9 for $5. He pauses to find his size because beige goes with everything, and $5 for 9 pairs of socks is a deal that can't be beat. He's reaching for his size when he hears a rip, closely followed by a crash. Jack is at the end of the aisle, busting open new bags of Muncho's chips, one after the other. He quickly figures out that stomping on the bags opens them sooner. He's stomping on bag after bag, spewing the crushed contents of projectile Munchos all over the place. Once he has finished stomping on those on the lowest shelf, he jumps up to fetch the bags on the second shelf, and in so doing, unwittingly detaches it from its seemingly secured perch, prompting the shelf and bag after bag of Munchos to crash to the floor. Jacob calmly replaces the 2 9-packs in his hand and leads Jack in the opposite direction. Ollie's is notorious for having little to no help, and the help they do have is notorious for their laziness and rampant apathy. So no one comes to investigate, repair, or clean up. Jacob and Jack walk serenely out of the store as though Ollie's didn't have what they were looking for. In the truck over cheeseburgers and chili cheese fries, Jacob lays out the plan for the next stop. Okay, so I think I was overly ambitious, but I do want to mention how proud I am of you for not peeing on anything. That was a truly remarkable feat of accomplishment, hence the treat of chili cheese fries. And I know there was food in there, so that's on me. However, when we go into stores, you cannot eat food unless it comes from my hands. All right, enough on that. The next one's going to be easy. Tyner Peter's Hardware by the Bridge. I think all the food they have in there is Coca-Cola's by the checkout, and they're in a fridge. We got this one. First, though, we're going to go park down by the river, take a nap, go walk the trails, then go to Tyner Peter's, then go reward ourselves with cones of overflowing vanilla custard. All right, we got this. That was your first try, but Jack, you got to get good at this. I want to take you everywhere, and you know you want to go everywhere with me, don't you? The vest with the writing on it is on the console between the seats. Jack's mouth is full of bacon double cheeseburger, and he likes listening to his friend. Sounds like to him, he had as much fun in Ollie's as he did. Those crunchy air potato pieces have always been his favorite. Then again, any food is his favorite. He swallows the last bite, licks his lips, and looks over at his dozing friend. Before nodding off to the same dream-filled sleep, Jack doesn't think happiness. He feels it, everywhere he looks. At Tyner Petrus, Jacob spends more money than he intended. He intended to spend no money at all, but when he looked up and Jack had the rubber-handed mallet in his mouth, he had to buy it since there were permanent teeth marks embedded in the handle which could scientifically be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be Jack's. So he had to buy it. He was also forced to purchase a toolbox he actually needed when Jack dragged it from the shelf and carried it to him 4 aisles over. He somehow got sidetracked on the PVC pipe aisle. He has a leak in a pipe somewhere in his yard, and it was time to fix it. Coming to Tyner Petrus was a better idea than he realized. He tied one end of the leash to a belt loop on his waist and forgot about Jack. PVC pipes will do that. So many sizes, so much thinking and planning to be done. PVC pipe is amazing, versatile, and they say it lasts forever. He has his hands high in the air because the Tyner Petrus staff person is on the ladder pulling down the pipes both decided would be best for the job. They also decided he doesn't know what he's going to find when he starts digging, so he ought to get enough to repipe everything. Leftover PVC pipe always comes to good use. Jacob likes this kind of talk, as he has been talking like this to himself for the past year. The leak had formed a small pond on the side yard where Jack frolicked to his heart's content. His love of water is his own. He can't help it. Any dog with Irish setter and German wire-haired pointer in him will be drawn to water sooner rather than later. That's just part of the ticket you buy when those two breeds wind up in one dog. Jacob likes the water too, so he's not about to start pointing fingers at anybody. However, the front porch furniture is filthy with mud. Even when Jacob covers the furniture with old bedspreads and blankets, they become filthy too. His water bill is too high. His front porch looks like a mud bomb went off on it. It was time to make a move on this project. Both the Tyner Petrus staff person and Jacob look around when they hear the loud clatter and release of the PVC pipes on the lowest portion of the PVC pipe wall. There's Jack, with a big green tool chest in his mouth. Jacob has the willpower of a true Neanderthal and does not blush one bit. He simply looks at his dog and says, "Good boy, Jack. That's exactly the one we talked about getting." In the truck in the parking lot of the custard shack, Jacob lectures Jack on his successes and misses as he feeds him his favorite treat of vanilla custard inside a homemade waffle cone. "Jack, I wouldn't call that a complete failure because we actually did need the tool chest. You've obviously heard me mention it and then thoughtfully helped me out. By the way, green was definitely the way to go on that. However, You saw me tie your leash to my belt loop. Whenever I do that in a store, that means you have to stay by me the whole time. But honestly, I gotta say, you're doing great. I am incredibly proud of you. You may have gone off leash, which is illegal, by the way, no matter you were dragging the leash with you wherever you went in the store, but you got something we needed. I am proud of your intelligence and your tremendous strength. That's the Ridgeback in you, bred to assist in the hunt and the lions. You are beyond strong. You not only impressed me, but did you see the look on that man's face, the one on the ladder handing me the pipe? He couldn't believe a dog capable of lifting, much less carrying around a tool chest of that size. And you were carrying it by the handle. I mean, your jaw and neck strength is nothing if not to be admired. I do admire it. You impress me every single day. However, we got to get a handle on this going into public places. You got to stay by my side the entire time. You know you want to be in there with me. I get the last bite. You've had enough. Are we on the same page, buddy? The gas station foray is brief and orderly. The behind-the-counter cashier starts giving them the evil eye as soon as they walk in the door, even though he's getting $50 worth of gasoline and 2 $4 bottles of water. He can't produce papers to prove the veracity of the words on Jack's vest and leash, so he keeps him close, keeps an eye on him the whole time, and they leave without incident. Jack is praised for the unqualified success, and his mannerly actions are celebrated with a piece of fried catfish from Monty's Catfish House. Jacob eats the 2 complimentary hush puppies that came with it. All right, I will admit there's a lot of room for error in here because we'll be among friends. But still, you've got to learn how to do and how to act in these places. No food here, so we're being given an edge. Don't jump on Bert when you see him. Yes, I know he likes it, but with you on this leash and wearing that vest, it's considered a black mark against you. And if Clint starts telling you to do tricks, you better ignore him. I can tell you love going inside different places, but there's a way to do it that won't get us kicked out or bankrupt me. I'll share something with you. All this is just a build-up to the real place I want you to go in with me. This is the last place today, then 2 places on Sunday. The last place is the reason we're doing this in the first place. We only go to 2 places anyhow. If you can figure out how to behave yourself, then that'll mean we're never apart. We can be together all the time. I don't know about you, but that'll be a dream come true for me. I do want to mention and congratulate you on not barking in any of the establishments today. I express my ardent admiration for your restraint. You've never been a barking dog, and we know you've got it in you with the Irish setter and German wire-haired pointer. Must be the Ridgeback giving you the restraint. Barking in a jungle would seem like pure folly to me, especially if you're in the middle of lion country. It's a good boy, Jack. You are a good boy. Silence reigns in the truck in the parking lot of the Bingo Palace. Jacob is watching the vehicles line up in the designated parking spots. 2 o'clock bingo on Wednesdays is a big day. Better prizes, more games, and always more blackouts. The owner of the Bingo Palace was born on a Wednesday at 2 o'clock and celebrates himself, his life, and his prosperity every week on every Wednesday. If Thanksgiving or Christmas falls on a Wednesday, there's a feast and giving of gifts like no one in town has seen. The owner loves it when this happens. He has more fun than anyone on those special occasions. Jacob is not watching for Lemuel Stanford. He's watching for Bert and Clint, his other 2 best friends, and 2 more goading individuals he has never encountered in his life. They have no idea he's training Jack. And if Jack sees them outside, he'll jump all over them like a puppy. He loves them, and they love him to bits. He couldn't hang around anyone who doesn't love dogs and didn't do right by them. He just couldn't. He doesn't see any point in it. So he's going to make sure they get in there first and give them time to get good and seated. He told them he was coming and to save them a seat. They know he loves bingo as much as they do, but won't ever come because he can't bring Jack. So he's in the truck waiting. Jack has the vest and leash on. He's ready. And he's got to admit, he looks mighty sharp and mighty official. Entry into the Bingo Palace goes smoothly. Jack seems to be getting the hang of walking on a leash and recognizing when the vest is on, something interesting is happening. Jacob spots Bert and Clint when they spot him. He watches Bert hit Clint on the arm and point to them. They start grinning right off the bat. Jacob looks down at Jack, glad Jack has not spotted two of his dearest friends. He doesn't trust Jack to not bolt across the room toward them. When he glances up, he notices a security guard by the door and a sign to his right. It reads, "Only service dogs allowed." Jacob looks him straight in the eyes without blinking, nods, and starts walking across the room. Clint and Bert are seated as close to the caller as they can get. Sheila Turpin is 54 years old, buxom, and husband hunting. She started dating 2 months ago, 2 years to the day after the passing of her only husband. She's ready to get married again and has let it be known. The fact she's loaded with more than boobs has every single man in northeast Louisiana going after her like a hound dog on the first day of hunting season. Lemuel Stanford is her brother. She's calling numbers on Wednesdays because it's fun and she wants to get out of the house in a dignified manner. She's wearing a 3/4 length sleeve pink knit top and a black A-line skirt. She looks as lovely as she always does. Jacob's marrying days have long passed. His beloved wife gave him 2 wonderful sons. He lives in one's deer camp and works for the other one whenever he feels like it. Truth be told, the older he gets, all he wants is the company of Jack and the grandkids. 1 or 2 of them seem to always be spending the night with him, and he likes that just fine. Clint is smirking, so Jacob looks at him hard and shakes his head. Bert and Clint grin bigger because they can't help it. He is so proud of the way Jack walks on a leash as though he has been doing it his entire life instead of just one day. He has not yet seen or smelled Clint and Bert, but he's about to. "Jack," Bert says, and Jack turns excited eyes toward a voice he knows and loves. He pulls hard on the leash, but Jacob is ready for him. It is a struggle convincing anyone watching there's no struggle at all. Jacob has always been a lot stronger than he looks. "Why, look at that fine service dog you got there, Jacob. We can surely tell he's a service dog due to the vest and leash with service dog embroidered all over them." "Come see me, Jack," Clint says with a barely straight face. Since Clint and Bert are sitting on the other side of the table, Jack jumps over it in order to get to them quicker. Stanley Clement, seated in a wheelchair, as close to Sheila Turpin as he can get without being considered a prevert, is watching Sheila as she pours fresh balls into the turning wire cage. A coward about everything and who can actually walk, Stanley has, and has assiduously nursed, a lifelong fear of any dog, no matter the size, breed, or temperament. When he sees Jack put his front paws on the table, he screams like a girl, jerks his wheelchair to the left, almost knocks Sheila to the floor, causing her to lose her grip on the bag of balls, which then scatter their bright round shapes everywhere. They also proceed to bounce high and in a highly erratic formation, just like the rubber balls Jacob's grandkids get from bubblegum machines. Jack, trained to chase balls since he was 4 weeks old, has no choice. Jacob lets go of the leash because he knows it's no good to hold him. More chaos and damage will ensue if he does. He sighs, looks over at Bert and Clint, who are bent over laughing so hard they're about to fall out of their chairs. Jacob sighs again and wishes they would. "Friend, that was no fault of yours. Stanley Clement is an idiot and he will always be one. How's he going to explain all the wheelchair parking permits now since everybody in town knows he can run like a 4th grader chasing an ice cream truck? We blamed it on him exactly like we should have. We're lucky Sheila loves dogs. That saved us, too. You knocked over a few tables and chairs, but the only damage done was to the bingo balls you crushed. You crushed those as soon as you got a hold of them because you couldn't help it. You get an A+ for your entry and your walk across the room. There'll be no grade for the ball fiasco because that was not your fault. We will purchase pizza gift certificates for Bert and Clint. Who knew those 2 could move that fast? I don't know what we would have done if those 2 hadn't been there to help corral both you and all those flying balls. Did you hear them tell you how proud they were of you? I noticed Sheila eyeballing Clint, too. He needs a good woman, and it looks like she just found him. All in all, I call the excursion a mild success. Not a true success, but nonetheless a mild one. When we pick up the gift certificates, we'll get your favorite pepperoni pizza for ourselves." It's 8:20 on a Sunday morning. The early service begins at 8:30. Jacob deliberately chose this church because he knows the pastor, Mark Enright, loves dogs more than humans, but can't admit it due to the life path his wife convinced him he needed to travel down. Jacob and Jack are the only ones in the sanctuary. He feels prepared for this test. More prepared than the other ones because he ran Jack in the woods for 2 hours this morning. He ran him, swam him, and then bathed him. He feels confident they'll meet with total success. If Jack can behave in a church, surely he can behave in the place for which all this training has ensued. Jacob hasn't been to church since his wife died 14 years ago. He finds the unnameable outside, in the breeze, the trees, in the eyes of his sons, their loyal wives, their wild children, and always in the eyes and hearts of any dogs he meets. Natural silence speaks to him of eternity, not the browbeaten husband of a bossy, demanding wife. And there she is right now. She smiles big at him because she only sees him. She doesn't see Jack, who's sleeping soundly on the blue and gold carpet squares. By the time the sermon begins, both Jack and Jacob are snoring. He forgot this is one of those churches with no music. It couldn't be helped. They've been up since way before dawn, setting traps in the woods, running in the woods, and swimming in the ponds, streams, and bayou in the woods. Granted, the huge breakfast Jacob prepared for them didn't help. The bottom line is, the excursion is a complete success, and that's all that counts. Pastor Enright praises Jack to the sky while his wife looks on with beady eyes beneath a brow wrinkled from way too much frowning. To celebrate, they have another huge breakfast at their favorite diner not far from the deer camp where they live. Both gentlemen are always welcomed. At certain times during the year, there are more dogs than humans in the restaurant. Exactly the kind of place they love. Free deer meat from the local hunters who truly love their dogs keeps the owner smiling and grateful. His old blue tick coonhound is a namesake for the eatery, Blue's Diner. Jacob's sister's husband's second cousin, Chuck Walfrey, is there and more delighted to see Jack than anyone. Chuck may be a part-time alcoholic, but he knows and loves dogs. Most of the people in the diner have a dog who came directly from Chuck, or some breeding Chuck set up. The man just knows how to bring forth some incredible dogs. There was that breeding between the black-mouthed cur and the cinnamon chow chow that produced the most loving, protective, and quiet guard dogs anyone in the parish had ever seen. The shedding was obscene, but everything else about the dogs was divine. Chuck Walfrey has been accused of many things, some of which he even remembers, but to accuse him of not loving dogs from the core of his being is the grandest error no one has ever made. Drunk 25% of the time, surly 38% of the time, inventing new dog breeds and cherishing them the whole remainder of his life. He can talk any highfalutin snob dog breeder into breeding his suggestions in about 10 minutes flat. He has been timed. This is the truth. Chuck believes the purest dogs are the ones who have the most opportunity to experience life to the fullest. A chocolate lab mixed with mountain cur and giant schnauzer somehow knows how to squeeze every bit of gusto out of life, much more so than just a plain chocolate lab. He once convinced a top breeder of too many championships to name to breed his bloodhound to an English sheepdog Rottweiler mix. And Chuck was right. No better hunting dog guard dogs ever lived and enjoyed life so much. Word got around of the careful consideration he put into marrying the right breeds. Top-notch breeders would secretly contact him to see about proceeding to create a world of new magnificence. There was a catch, though. Chuck had to know where every puppy went for life, and those puppies could never be bred. That was the deal. If you wanted to share your life and care for one of his miracles, Chuck had to know where they were at all times. Somehow, alcohol never affected his prodigious memory, and no one crossed him after what happened with Imelda Johnson. Woman or not, she got shot in the foot. He told her it would get done, and it was. And like he promised, she always knows when it's going to rain or when the seasons truly start to change. She now prefers the aloofness and low maintenance of felines. He made his objective clear 3 times. He told her he wouldn't do it again, and he didn't. Imelda Johnson had her life worked out. She always got exactly what she wanted. No matter who she had to lie to, steal from, shame, humiliate, manipulate, or trample upon, she always got what she wanted. Until she didn't. These kinds of people always wind up getting more than they want, and then inevitably getting themselves into trouble they don't think they need to get out of. Some way or another, she got a puppy from one of Chuck's miraculous breedings. The dogs turned out to be big, fluffy, and solid white. All possessed remarkable gold eyes like an orange tabby cat. The dogs were big, and they were flawless. Chuck got wind the dog she chose was chained up in her backyard. The news reached him at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and not much later that same Sunday morning he was standing in her backyard, looking at one of the most exquisite beings he'd ever seen. Golden German Shepherd, white Samoyed, white wolf, and black flat-coated retriever. How every puppy in that litter of 12 came to be pure white dogs, Chuck will never know. He just knows how to mix the breeds to achieve unbelievable results. He does go for looks, but mainly he goes for character. He sat on her back patio for 4 hours before anyone came out. When Imelda finally sauntered out, the only thing she did for the beauty was to tell her to shut up. When she turned and saw Chuck, she was understandably startled. Chuck Walfrey stands 6 feet 5 inches tall, both fat and brawny, green-eyed, always wears his brown and gray hair pulled back in a chubby ponytail. He is a second-look gatherer wherever he goes. He had few words for her. Unchain that dog or you're going to be on it. Imelda looked at him and laughed out loud. She thought she smelled alcohol coming from somewhere and told him, "Get off my back patio. Unchain that dog or you're going to be on it, or half of your foot will come up missing by your own hand. You'll always know when it's going to rain and when the seasons will truly change. You got 30 seconds. That dog is mine. My property. I can do whatever I want." As he uttered his promise again, he wrestled on a pair of black latex gloves. When Imelda hurried inside, Chuck was right behind her. He did offer her a choice. She must always admit to that truth. You see, a life lived like Imelda lived hers, with rampant disregard for anyone or any rules, that kind of life will get you into trouble sooner or later because there's always a paper trail. Chuck did smell like alcohol, but not because he was drunk. He was sort of drunk the night before, trading shots of tequila one after the other with a computer whiz who thought he could drink anyone under the table, tequila being his preferred alcohol beverage of choice. He'd been drinking it like water since he was 15. It took bottles of the stuff for him to even tap into a minor buzz. But life is a teacher, and he learned a lot that night. He also learned a lot as he waited 4 hours in his air-conditioned silver Range Rover on Imelda Johnson's curb. He'd hacked some pretty savage illegal shenanigans, but he must admit, Imelda Johnson is next level. Why she chose to shoot herself in the foot, Chuck will never know, and he doesn't care. She was given a choice, and she chose. The treasure for whom she had nothing but contempt left with him, and stayed with the ex-tequila drinker who swore off alcohol after Chuck made an easy fool of him. Chuck doesn't know who loves who more. He gets more photos than he'd like because the computer whiz can't help himself. His walls and his phone are covered in images of a gorgeous white fluffy dog who will give her life for him, and rightly, the other way around. Jacob is looking at Jack thinking he's the most interesting dog he's known. Thoroughly, endlessly interesting, on the outside and on the inside. That Chuck, he sure knows how to produce miracles. He remembers when Chuck brought Jack to him. He walked because he was too drunk to drive. Jacob figured out he carried that puppy cradled in his arms for 5 miles. Chuck will do anything to make sure every dog he breeds finds an excellent, sane, and attentive home. He did and he does. Always. Or half a foot might get shot off by someone. That someone not ever being Chuck Walfrey. Jacob is quiet, too quiet. Jack thinks something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Jacob is nervous about the next and final stop. The real reason for these nerve-wracking training sessions. Walmart. Jacob's favorite store in the whole world. Walmart is more than a store. It's probably dishonoring to the concept of Walmart to call it a store in the first place. Walmart is called a store like Mount Everest is called a mountain. Both are much more than the simple terms humans have allocated to them. Walmart is life. Everything Jacob wants he can find in Walmart, and at competitive prices. He buys clothes, tires, charcoal, dog food, shoes, shampoo, combs, toys, any type of food his stomach is craving or on his mind, watches, belts, wallets, gift cards, dog bowls, fingernail clippers, deodorant, vitamin C pills, tools, paint, and paintbrushes. Anything he needs or doesn't need, he can find and buy in Walmart. But it's not for the stuff he can buy that Jacob especially loves Walmart. It's for the spectacular parade of humanity in all its forms, predilections, and subsequent behaviors motivated by those same predilections. This is the real reason Jacob loves Walmart. He can witness the rich woman and the poor man, the old man who needs a cane to walk, and the young single mother with 2 children under the age of 5. He can see the harried man who was sent in to get something she forgot to buy that he really wanted, not needed, but wanted. He can see the workers showing up, sitting in their cars and trucks on the side parking lot, waiting until it's just time to clock in. He can see the little boy not getting his way and having a throwdown fit on the paper towel and toilet paper aisle. When he looks away, he can hear the ignored suggestion, then the reprimand, and then the sure pop of flesh on flesh, and the end of the unreasonable showboat tantrum. No judgment from Jacob. He knows she only knows the taught limitations of her knowing. He can see newlyweds trying to figure it out. He can see the many years married couple holding hands because they still adore one another and at their ages need the physical support one unconsciously always gives the other. He can see the angry woman who is too involved in the insanity of worry. He can see the young man who's teaching himself how to be a mechanic, a carpenter, a painter, or a vegetable grower. He can see the children watching their parents for guidance and praise, some laughing, some with hunched shoulders because that's the way their relationships have conditioned them to live. He can see the 2 teenage girls who are laughing too much and will be caught for shoplifting before they can leave with the packs of racy underwear. He can see the manager earning her wages, though she really wants to be home throwing clay all day. He can see the pale figures of men and women of every color in the pharmacy department sitting on that 6-seat plastic bench bolted to the polished concrete floor. He can see diligent order, never-ending choices, and abundance everywhere he looks. More brands of peanut butter than the mind can handle, yet he feels a mysterious pleasure when he notices a new brand and likes the thought that people are continually striving to introduce more flavor and more goodness into the lives of every individual or family who shops here. He can see old and young women in the women's clothing section buying cute jeans and tops and other stylish clothing items at affordable prices. The variety in fashion is plentiful, colorful, groovy, or conservative, and there's something for every age and shape of female. He can watch the workers while he's pretending to study the coffee selection, from instant to slow brew, to drip, to coffee machine grind density. The pandemic was the best thing ever to happen to Walmart and Walmart shoppers. Used to be a body could never find any help, and when help was found, he or she never knew where the item could be found for which the query was being made. Those days are long gone and good riddance. Now every single worker knows where everything is. From an American flag-themed Thimble 3-pack, Brillo pads, Neapolitan-flavored no-fat ice cream, a 5-pound dumbbell, glass stovetop cleaner, to any kind of twine or candle. All workers know where everything can be found, every single thing in the store. The pandemic made Walmart a more efficient machine. The workers take greater pride in their service because each one knows every answer to every question. People want stuff delivered to their doorstep, and somebody has to gather it for them. Jacob tips his imaginary hat because they make the lives of the on-site shoppers run so much more smoothly. He hopes the workers are being paid a living wage. They deserve that and then some. Any human being who helps another succeed should be generously compensated. The flow of money should flow in all directions, continuously, and with honest consideration. Jacob sees his friends and neighbors in Walmart, and much, much more. He sees the striving, the sadness, the happiness, the joy, and the triumph of humanity on full display every time he steps foot inside any Walmart store in any state in the United States. He cannot go into Walmart without spending 1 to 2 hours of the most enjoyable hours of any day. He wants Jack in there with him. He can feed him chicken drumettes or a slice of turkey Swiss wrap the moment they enter. He can show him the collars, leashes, and dog beds and let him choose. They can meander down the tool aisle, get lost, have meaningful conversations, learn things, share things that have everything to do with living life to the best of one's current ability. For Jacob, Walmart is life. Okay, buddy, this is it. This one is important. You can do it. I know you're ready. You're going to love it in here. We're going to eat something the second we walk through the sliding doors. I'm not getting a buggy because we don't need one this trip. We got this. Jack watches Jacob, shifting his body as necessary as he puts on clothing that makes his tail wag. This clothing means something interesting is about to be experienced. He senses an unusual degree of solemnity in Jacob's voice, not present in the talks before the other clothing-wearing excursions. Jacob attaches the leash to his collar, then gently takes his head in his 2 calloused hands and looks him steady in his alert brown eyes. No matter what happens in here, it's okay. You are a perfect being, and I love you, no matter what. You're the dearest friend a man could ask for. I treasure you. Your unique appearance, your unflagging loyalty, your curiosity, your game personality, and your deep love for me. You're my best boy. Friend, I need you to behave in here. Can you do that for the both of us? Jacob doubts they fooled anyone in Walmart, but nobody said a word. Jack was too happy to see small children, too excited in front of the hot food counter, and too eager to smell the bargain baked goods on the tall metal rolling shelves in the dairy section. However, he did not jump on one single individual in uncontrollable joy. He did not bark at the gargantuan stuffed bears or at anything or anyone he witnessed or saw. He did continually pull on the leash too hard. He was way too friendly with everyone. He did not pee or attempt to pee on the corner of anything. They were in Walmart for 1 solid hour, and Jack performed like the amazing, intelligent boy he is capable of demonstrating himself to be when he wants to do so. They're sitting at a picnic table outside of the barbecue bin in the parking lot of the only strip mall in town. Both got the extra meaty 3-rib plates with 2 sides and no bread. They're both grinning at one another like the fun-loving, adventure-seeking buddies they are. Jacob feels a relief he cannot name, while Jack feels a joy he can never shake. Lying may not be the way to proceed to get what's wanted. Then again, sometimes it just does the trick. Jacob would laugh out loud if his mouth weren't so full. His planning mind is released, now filled with beautiful assurance. His happiness is solid and almost impossible to contain. I saw that man in Walmart. I saw that dog. I was back in the dairy section where they have milk and eggs. He was just like Jack, way too eager, smelling everything. But he almost knocked over the rolling shelf with the day-old baked goods, and he was happy. He was way too happy. I mean, like crazy happy. His tail was wagging, and the guy, you could tell by the guy, and he was about as old as Jacob, 69, 70 years old. And he wanted his dog in there with him, and he had on the service vest, the service vest, and the service leash. I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I would love to. I would love to go. And what's the big deal? I mean, the dog's on a leash. I mean, who says the dog has more germs than the humans? I loved it. I loved seeing that dog in there, and I love the fact that that dog was no more service dog than any of mine. It was it was beautiful. And the love. I mean, that dog too was so happy, so and then the way that man was treating him, not even getting on to him. And he was completely, he looked so guilty, but he also looked like he was having a good time. And he was single. They're these older guys. You see older guys around here, and they're not married, and they have a dog. They usually have an older dog. How much old was that dog that I saw at Walmart? 5 or 6. He wasn't too old because he was too happy. It was probably his first time in Walmart, and nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. At least back there, it's like, who cares? He's had the vest on, but I wonder what he did at the checkout. Because at the checkout, I bet he told on himself. It was too cute. It was so cute because they were both so happy. And that guy was just getting groceries. I mean, he pulled him away from those baked goods. Because the surface dogs, they won't smell. They don't do that. They will not smell food. I mean, I think even you can put a slab of ribs on the floor and they're trained to walk by them. That dog got a lot of exercise too. He looked good. He looked really good. And happy. That dog was so happy, and it was bone deep happiness. That guy cared deeply for that dog. I mean, why was he bringing him in Walmart? Because he wanted him with him, Oh my goodness. But you see these old guys in there. I remember where I was. I was at Max, and I walked outside, and no, I think I walked inside. It was early in the morning. Because people who take their dogs places, they go early especially when it's summertime here, you go early in the morning. Because even late in the evening, unless you can find some shade, it's just too hot. I mean, lethally hot here. Lethally hot. That means you can die, even if the windows are rolled down. It's that crazy hot. So people who have dogs, they take them, and people who have dogs and love their dogs, know that the highlight of any dog's life is riding in the car with the windows rolled down. I mean, that they love that more than anything. If you had to give my dogs a choice, y'all want to go to the woods or y'all want to go ride in the car, they would choose riding in the car. I think they would. I'm pretty sure they would. So there was this guy out, and it was Max Grocery, and when I walked in, I saw he was in this beat up old truck, a 2-door, you don't see 2-door trucks much anymore. They're all 4-door now. Golly. And it was a lab, an older lab. The lab's face was almost all white. This dog had been with this guy a long time. And so when I came back out, the guy was standing out front. And the dog had moved over to the driver's side and was looking, and of course the windows rolled down, and was looking at his family. And the guy was standing there looking at my dogs. Who did I have in the car? I'm sure I had the big black dog and the pit and the cur, and they just stayed in there. And my dog saw his dog, and his dog saw my dogs, and it's like, oh, we're not going anywhere because this means we're going riding. So we're not going. I mean, I can walk in anywhere. I do that. I go early in the morning to Walmart, take the dogs, park on the side, leave all the windows down, and go in Walmart. Like, oh, aren't you worried the dogs are going to be stolen? No. I park far enough away that nobody can park next to me because they're not going to get close to the car. That's just not going to happen. Because I know which ones to take with me. You take the car. Because she's going to bark like a maniac at everybody. However, I went this morning. I went to have breakfast. I had the car in Love with me, and the lady was out. I always park underneath at the gas place, so it's shaded even in the mornings. I mean, it's hot here. Okay, it's crazy, crazy hot. And she came inside and she said, "This place has great coffee." It's over in Union Parish. You cross the bridge from Sterlington, right there on the right. What's it? Simpson's One Stop. That place has fantastic coffee. And they have bundt cakes. There's this guy that makes bundt cakes. Oh my gosh, and they're fantastic. And this lady, she came in and said, "Oh, your dog barked at me." And I said, "Which one, the tan one or the black one?" And she said, "The black one." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. She barked at you. That surprised me. So proud of my love." Walmart. Walmart is totally safe. You know that? Go into Walmart. At least here, around here it is. Well, we're in Bastrop. I don't know how it is in Monroe. But the Bastrop Walmart is very safe. I mean, Walmart is massive. You can totally get everything in there. I mean, what can't you get in there? Lumber, steel pipe. You can probably get some steel pipe. You can probably order the steel pipe from Walmart. I mean, you can just get anything in Walmart. I wonder if you can even order lumber. They can probably go, "Yeah, you can get some lumber here." And it's always clean. Walmart is always clean. And Walmart is massive. You don't say, "I'm going to run in Walmart." There's no running in Walmart. You go in Walmart. You cannot go in and out of Walmart in 15 minutes. It's a 30-minute to, I don't even know if you can do it in 30 minutes. It's an hour deal. You go in, you have to plan. Walmart is not a spontaneous choice. You have to plan to go to Walmart because it takes that long to go in and out. Because here's what happens. You have your list, and then your list doubles or triples while you're in there because they have so much good stuff at great prices. And it's true. Since COVID, everybody knows where everything is. I love it. I mean, you can, and before they didn't know, they didn't care. You're like, "Where can I find the who cares? I don't know, and I'm not going to find out. We're not even going to look on the phone where you can do the digital stuff." But now, they know where everything is. I mean, everything. I need a 4-inch nail file. Oh, that's going to be on aisle A6. Over there, take a right, take a left. It's going to take you literally 3 minutes and 15 seconds to get there. They know that kind of information. And you know what else? They're a lot friendlier. I'm telling you, it's made more work, but they're a lot friendlier because they know the answers to every single question. And they're there being diligent and setting things. It's just nice. Setting things up. Setting things up in an orderly fashion. It works great because now the aisles are neater because you have the workers are constantly taking products and having to. So, the COVID was a good thing for Walmart. And boy, they deliver. I know people. Walmart. It's delivery all the time. Walmart is a great store around here. It really and truly is. But do you want to go in there all the time? No, you do not. Because it's so big and it takes so much time to go in and get out. But it's true too. You can see every type of human being in there. The rich man, the poor woman, the wheelchair bound, the marathon runner, the sick, the healthy, the fat, the skinny, the smart, the stupid, the lazy, the worker, the people who are trying, the people who are barely trying, the people who don't know how to try. You can see humanity at its best in there. Every piece of it that works together, that weaves itself together. Into one beautiful song. That's really what it is, you know that? I mean, humanity. All of us, these disparate parts, all of our various talents, our moods, our talk, our thinking, our knowing. It's all one song, one beautiful song. I love Walmart. When I go, I couldn't go there all the time. Yeah, I do. It's fun to go in there and watch people. It's fun to go in there and watch people and watch the workers. And you know what I love about Walmart? They have older workers. I'm serious. They've got folks in there, gray headed. They look like they're 80 years old. I'm like, go Walmart. I love it. Go Walmart. Young workers, old workers, all colors, all shapes, all sizes. And you know why it's unique Walmart? Other than because there's just a humbleness to that store and the people that are there, and it's good. It's not downtrodden. It's nice. It's friendly. Everybody in there is always really friendly. You don't initially you don't look forward to going into Walmart because you know what a haul it's going to be. But then when you get in there and everybody's so nice, it's always an uplifting experience. And of course, you can always find what you want. It's never going to be a fruitless excursion. You're going to find what you want. And who knows what you're going to see? That dog. I've never seen another dog in there. Never have. And the workers, I mean, I tell you, we're so funny in the South about our dogs. I mean, I tell y'all know, it's weird the way we are. It's weird. It's weird. I can't explain it. How we'll let something go and then we won't let something go. You know? Love, here's Love's update. She's doing fantastic. The puppies have gone. The puppies went to the shelter. They went to the Ouachita Parish Animal Shelter. 9 of them. Beautiful and perfect. I was so proud of us. And they'll find rescue because nobody wants those dogs. Nobody wants black dogs around here. And I think they're all going to have the orange eyes like Love has. She was a good mama. And you know what? I figured out that dog was incredibly stressed from the moment I got her. I mean, just stressed out of her gourd. Running around like a crazy person. She got dumped for 2 to 3 weeks running around in that neighborhood, which, you know what, in hindsight, thank God it was that neighborhood. That's a dog-loving neighborhood, even though everyone ignored her. That's the South. What can I say? So she was safe there. Nobody's going to shoot her in that neighborhood. Hey, how about that? Are you impressed? Right. It's the truth. Nobody's going to shoot her over there. So she was totally stressed because she was pregnant when I got her. 3.5, I figured it out. She was 3.5 weeks pregnant when I got her. And then she's over here with me. Oh my gosh, pregnant, right? 9 months old, pregnant. And then I told you, I thought, I had 2 months, and then a month later she has the puppies. Golly. And she was a fantastic, fantastic mama. She has the puppies in here with all of my dogs. that was interesting. She completely ignored them. She completely ignored the whole deal. She stayed in the back bedroom and ignored them completely. Would not even come in here, so it was stressful for her too. She didn't even come check on them. She just ignored them. She's just like, they are not here. I only live in this area of the house now. The pit was totally, at the end of the day, the pit was completely stressed out by them. She licked off almost 1 foot completely. She's been wearing a cone, and that has not been fun. So we've almost got her healed up from that. And the black dog, that's the one I thought, that's the one I thought that I might have problems with, that might want to kill the puppies. But it was the exact opposite. She wanted to be in here big time, and if a puppy tumped him or herself out of the kiddie pool, which happened, she would lick the little puppy and wake me up so I could put the puppy back in with the other puppies. And Love totally let her do it. So I figured out there was no threat. The only one she did growl at Gigi. She growled at the pit, so there was something. But anyhow, everything worked out fine. Obviously, Gigi licked half her foot off. I fed Love. I'm telling you, Love was eating like a horse. She was eating all 3, 4 times a day. I fed that dog. I fed her. And you know, it was curious. When the puppies left, her appetite disappeared completely. She did not even, it went from I'm starving to death to never mind. And now she just eats. That was very interesting. And you know what else she did when I came home? I was wondering if she was going to be stressed out, looking at me, anxious. No. She slept for 12 hours. And then the next day she slept again. So I was thinking, she's decompressing. She did not decompress. She is now decompressing. And has she fully decompressed? I don't know. I think so. She's been getting out of the fence. She's been getting out of the yard. I'm having to exercise her a lot, which I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I'm having to get up early to do it so she can be off leash, so she can run. Because like I say, she's lab and hound. And she's got to run. We're going back to the woods now. I think tick season's over. I haven't had ticks on me, and it's total running. One day we were so tired of being cooped up, and walking in the pitch black dark. So we went to the woods. I said, we're just going, early. It was early enough. It was we got to go a cool spell, so that was nice. And I was wondering what she was going to do when we got back to the car. If she was going to bolt off, because she's young, right? This is a young dog, and she's got black lab in her, which means she's wild as a March hare. I was wondering what she was going to do when she got to the car. And you know what she did, which I've never experienced in my life, and I have taken many a foster dog to the woods with me to run. She stayed within 1 foot of the car. I've never had a dog stay that close to the car. So, because there was a point in time when I thought to myself, was this dog dumped? Have I taken a family dog? And I got to thinking about all those scars on her chest. She looked like she was a bait dog. That's how many scars there were on her chest. And then she was so frantic and desperate. But what told me that she was dumped was the way she stayed close to the car. So that either told me, yeah, I was dumped, or I'm not going back to where I was. But I know she was dumped because she gets out of the fence here, which I'm having to exercise her a lot, so hopefully that's just to chill. She always comes back. One day, I don't know what, I was sleeping, and she got out, and then whatever she was doing outside, but when she came back in, I knew that she had been running around in the neighborhood because she was hot and breathing hard. But she came back. She always comes back. She hasn't gotten out in a couple of days, but when she does get out and I call her, she comes running. She had never been bathed, and she had never ridden in a car. I could tell by the way she acted during both of those activities that she had never experienced either one. Sweet. Oh my gosh, she is so sweet. Those puppies, let me tell you something. I don't know how breeders do it. That was so much work. The amount of work was unbelievable. And the poo-poo, that too was shocking. And do you want me to tell you what a successful puppy poo-poo is? It's not successful unless 16 feet have stepped in it and 2 have attempted to eat it. Unless that has happened, it's not successful. And then what makes it really successful is if while the puppy is poo-pooing, another puppy tackles the puppy poo-pooing, and then they wrestle on the floor and roll around on the poo-poo, and then as they roll away from it, the 16 feet step in it. Yeah. That was constant. That was, oh God. If I had not had, the 2 20-foot columns of newspaper, I honestly don't know and the cleaning. And then you feel guilty because I had them in this enclosure. What are you going to do? and they're crying to get out, and they're so precious, and you let them out, guess what happens? Poo-poo every which way, poo-poo, TT every which way. And then sometimes I would be asleep, and I'd hear this crying, and I would be like, that's too much crying, what's going on? You get up, they're all out. Oh my gosh. So that was, so so of course I have to think, and I've got to invent something while I figure it out. And here's what I figured out: how you have to do right if you're a puppy breeder, if you breed dogs, which that's insanity if you really want to know the truth. The amount of cleaning and the amount of, but here's a way to make it easier, and here's the way I think you should do it to do right by the puppies. You have two areas. What did I, because I had 9 puppies, and so what did I have there? I had the area that I had, I guess it was an 8 by 10 area that they were in, maybe 8 by 8, 8 by 10, something like that. And so I figured out that if you were doing it professionally, what you would have 2 areas of the exact same size, side by side. And I guess you would put little bars around because you want them to look out, right, and see the activity. You want them stimulated. But you would also have a window. Their little area would back up on a window. And of course, you wouldn't need to raise. You would have windows. It would have the blinds inside the window, so you could raise the blinds. And so once they began to see, open their eyes, then you would raise the blinds at that point during the day. I don't know, but at night, because if you did it at night, they could see their reflection, which might be fun to watch. But then you need the windows so they can look out. And you would have, for the area where they would look out upon, would need to be something beautiful: grass, trees, other dogs, or maybe deer walking through. This to me would be an ideal breeding thing, okay? So what you have those 2 areas, each of the same size, and you have a little gate between them. So when one area is filthy, which, I mean, at the end there, I was cleaning the area 6 times a day, if not more. That's mopping, cleaning. I mean, you've got to, okay, so then when they make that area filthy, you open the gate and you put them into the other area where it's clean. Then you clean that. That's what I figured out. That's what I wish I would have had. Put them into the clean area. Then when that area gets clean, you put them into the other area where it's clean again. No, I'm not going to start a breeding operation, even though I may have figured out the perfect way to do it. I'm not going to do it. And at about 3 weeks, she was sick of them. So there was that too. You know, she wouldn't go in there she would go in there and look at them, check on them, and she wanted right back out. But you know what? It was life. I mean, they were so beautiful and healthy. That was really something lovely to experience, that they were so gorgeous and healthy and smart. They're going to be smart like their mama. She's smart, and she was a good mama, you know, that she is, you know, as good as she could be for a 10-month-old puppy, you know. And she is pure puppy, because of course you're like doubting yourself. Is she a puppy? Yes, she's a puppy. I've completely seen that since the puppies have gone, because she's acting like a puppy. You know, playing around, wild, running around in circles all the time, happy, happy, happy. Dragging stuff out into the yard. I looked up, I went to get in the car the other day, and there's my bed pillow in the middle of the driveway. All my shoes are on the bookshelf. I have a place where there are towels. They get dragged to the floor once a day. They get over it. I mean, that's a black lab too. Those black labs, they do that. I mean, it's black labs. But you know why? Because they're so smart and so full of athleticism and energy. They're hunting dogs. You want that, boy. You don't want to curb that. You want that. And boy, you talk about fun to watch. I told you she was fast. She is fast. And now she's getting muscle bound because we're walking all the time. And boy, she is fine. Oh my gosh, I just love her. I love her. And she comes to me every time I call her. Wants to come to me. Happy to see me. And pretty. Oh gosh, she's just beautiful. She's just lovely. She's She's getting spayed on Wednesday. Can't wait. But she's a doll. Total doll. But she's a lot of dog. Total go dog. You got one of these dogs at the house, you better get off the couch and get to exercising, or they're going to drive you insane. They're going to tear up everything in your house, everything in your yard, and jump all over you. You go run their tails off for an hour and a half every day, and they're manageable. And you feel great because you've had a lot of great exercise and you've been out in nature. So it's worthwhile for everybody involved. She's lovely. I hit the jackpot. Totally. All right, you guys, that's it. I believe that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed Jack the Liar. Can't you see those two going in? Oh my gosh, and Bert and Clint. I mean, that's so Southern. It's like, oh yeah, they're at the bingo palace, and Sheila finds a husband. Of course she does. And you can see Stanley Clement in the wheelchair, ogling her. You know, thinking, I got a chance. No, Stanley, you don't have a chance. Golly, just cute, cute, cute. Totally Southern, that story. I had so much fun writing it and thinking about it. I love writing short stories. I mean, I love it. Okay, you guys. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being here. Buy my book, The Depth of Dogs. Please get the ebook. I appreciate it. This has been Dog Food with Katherine Abel.